Hey, welcome back to Call for Help in Photography. Green screening can be a useful technique for all kinds of things. Not only does it make it easier for you to change the background behind your subject, I mean, that's how they do it in movies. Nowadays, they don't even have to build a set. They just, make it with a computer. But also, you can do this to cut out and manipulate objects, insert them into pictures. The good thing is, if you've got Photoshop, you don't need any fancy plugins or software to do it. It's time to go green with Photoshop and our great friend Alex Lindsay from the Pixel Corps. So this is stuff that they do in movies all the time.
Right.
I don't normally think of it as a still picture manipulation.
Well, one of the things I'm going to show is we're going to talk about green screen, but we're also going to start showing some of the very old things that are hidden in Photoshop. Some very some things that are really powerful, and we're going to show how channels interact.
Yeah.
And how you can do. And channels are the key to the operation in Photoshop.
Absolutely.
And now previously we showed some stuff in Shake.
Right.
Some pretty complex stuff about how to do a composite, and I want to show a little bit about how that would relate to it in Photoshop.
Okay.
So if we look here, what we've got is a little green screen. This is from a movie that we're working on right now, and
is that your brother?
It's not. It's an actor.
He looks very serious, whoever it is.
Yeah, he's they're on.
Looks like Joe a little bit.
They're on the surface of a moon and Jupiter, and
see, that's the hard thing for actors.
Yeah,
they're sitting in front of a green screen and they have to pretend they're on a moon.
Yeah, exactly. So
now, are they wearing a black jumpsuit because they're going to also composite the
we're actually going to be putting other outfits over top of all of that. So we're actually going to only see the very top area of them. So
basically, you're shooting their heads.
Yeah, exactly. So now what we're going to talk about is how to do a green screen without all of the plugins. Now, there's plugins and there's all kinds of other things, but if you know how to use the very simple tools, a lot of times you can get a really great key without that. So
that's what they call this, a key.
It's a key, yeah. And so it allows you to, or a mat. A key, a mat, a mask. All of those things are things that are the same. And the bottom line is at the end, what we want to end up with is an image that's black and white, where the white is what we want to keep and the black is what we want to get rid of.
Okay.
All the time when everyone's working on keys.
This is very useful. These are we call them masks a lot.
Right.
Using masks to do stuff in Photoshop.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're saying this is where I want to modify. This is where I don't want to modify.
Exactly. And the key is that the key to the key is that most people have a hard time understanding what that is. And all you're trying to do is manipulate the channels. Do whatever you need to do so you end up with a black and white image where the white is what you want to keep and the black is what you want to get away with.
So you don't have to have a green screen in the background to make this work. It's just a little easier.
This specifically will work better. What I'm about to show will work better with pure colors because we've got red, green, and blue.
Separating out the channels.
Yeah, if we can interact between them. If we look at these channels here, you've got red and then green, and you'll see the green is really bright.
Right.
That's how we.
There's
that's
a lot
what
of
we
green
use.
there.
Exactly. And then we have the blue here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the oldest tool in Photoshop. The oldest tool. We're going to go, back into the archaeology of Photoshop. Is that Photoshop started with what's called calculations. Okay, so now calculations is a very simple thing, and most people don't even know it's there.
I've looked at that menu 1,000 times.
You didn't even know.
I've never seen the word calculations. I'm amazed. All right.
Now there's some stuff hidden in calculations that isn't anywhere else in Photoshop because I guess they decided in Adobe's infinite wisdom that it wasn't necessary.
Or they may have folded those capabilities into other tools.
It's really not something that you can find.
Yeah.
And what you have is if we take the red channel and we take the green channel and we subtract them.
Oh.
Okay, so you can multiply. Yeah.
There's your mask.
Yeah. So
holy cow.
This is what we call a raw mask because it's still
there's some other stuff.
There's still some other stuff we have to do. But all we're doing is we're saying now what's actually happening here is that remember all these black and white color are just numbers, and really you want to think of it as 0 to 1.
So this is pure math.
It's just pure math. It's
subtraction.
Taking the value of the green and subtract the red from the green.
But this was the underlying thing that made Photoshop so powerful is they realized that you could do this kind of math on images.
And it's simple math.
Yeah.
It's just taking this pixel value and taking the next one and subtracting it from it.
So if the green level is 256 and the blue level is 256 and you subtract the green, you get 0.
Exactly. And where there's a lot of difference between them right here, where the background doesn't go to black, but where there was we have white in our skin.
Right.
And white has red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
So if we subtract the red from the green, it's so similar in the center area that what we get is a black.
Nothing.
Yeah, it just goes
Zero.
straight, because it's like saying 128 minus 128.
Yeah, it was 0.
Right.
Yeah.
So now what we have here is
and this did a great job because you got the hair, the detail in the hair, and everything. I mean,
yeah,
really
it's
nice.
you really get a lot of information.
Did that work better because you had a green screen? No.
It does.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay.
because what we have is a solid green going
Got
from
it.
a solid. Because that's what we want, is it to be very different in the background, but very similar
okay.
in the
I
foreground.
see.
Because that allows
if you
it
had
to
white in the
subtract.
background, that you'd have black everywhere.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. So now we're going to say okay, and now all we have to do is
We
we're
just
going
want to invert this somehow.
Exactly. So we'll just hit Command I or Control I on the PC. And so that now we're getting closer. Now the only problem is that we wanted black
Right.
and white.
Right.
And so what we're going to do is I'm going to make a copy so I can use this for something else. And I'm going to hit Command L or Control L
For the levels.
for the levels. And all I have to do is bring up my endpoint. Now this histogram, of course, what this is showing is these are the population of pixels at different levels between black
So
and
there's
white.
a lot of white, and then there's all that stuff in the middle.
And that's our gray screen.
That's the gray, right.
So if I move my black point and say everything needs to be black on the other side of this point,
There's nothing gray. It's either black or white.
and now now if I push it too hard, what'll happen is I'll lose all my gray values. And the problem with that is that the gray values are what makes everything look soft and you know, your hair and his head here. If
It's going to be too perfect.
Watch this.
Too crisp. Yeah. There's
those little gray values, if I start pushing them to black, they start getting
okay.
crunchy. So we want to go just to where the background's gone, but not any further.
Okay.
So then,
So that you might want to zoom in on something with a lot of detail and look at that.
exactly. In fact, some of the time you'll go through and you'll actually build keys for different sections. Like the hair needs one kind of key,
Yeah,
and the
right.
and the shoulders need
Hair's
another
tough.
kind of key. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Especially my hair. I take a little too much gel this morning. Really tough. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. It's like hard as a rock.
So now all we have to do is if I hold down the Command key or the Control key on the PC and I click, you know, it just selects.
You've got a mask.
I've got a mask, and all I have to do is go into here, and I'm going to hold down my Option key and just double click on the layer to make it float.
Okay.
So that just keeps it so it's not on the background. And then all I got to do is click here, and this will turn that into a mask.
And
create
it's
the key.
transparent behind them, and you could put those guys in front of anything.
Exactly.
It was just that simple. A little calculation goes a long way.
One little
What
calculation.
a slick little thing to know about. And I've never seen that menu used. You are the first. I have probably done 500 Photoshop segments, and I didn't even know that menu item existed. There you go. How do you like that? If you want to be like Alex, he knows everything. Check out his troupe of multimedia masters on the web at pixelcore.com. I work with them all the time now, and they are the greatest. You could be a member, too. And to figure out all those green screen tips he showed you, you can find them all in our show notes. Callforhelptv.com.